Studies have shown that 1 in 6 children struggle with obesity. Being overweight and unhealthy is a very prevalent issue among our youth. Problems begin at home and therefore can only be fixed within your household. As a parent, it is your job to instill healthy habits at a young age that can be carried on throughout their lives. It's always possible to start healthy routines and create positive relationships with food. We all know what is healthy. We all know what is junk food. We know that children should not be eating takeout for every meal, and they shouldn't live on processed food. As adults, we understand this. However, regardless of our full knowledge of the subject, we might not actually live the healthiest of lifestyles. The first thing you need to do to create healthy eating habits for your children is to set a good example for them. Show them healthy eating habits. If you're eating junk food all the time, then not only do they see you eating those foods, but then there is access to those foods in the house. So they will also be asking for those not so great options. Here are some great eating tips for your children. First, find foods that your kids actually do like. There are going to be foods that they just dislike. Don't force feed them a tomato if they don't like tomatoes. Try a variety of different foods until you can find a food that they like. Go through different fruits and vegetables until you can find something that they genuinely are interested in eating. It'll be much easier to get them to eat healthy food if you actually pinpoint the food that appeals to them. Don't force your kids to finish their plate. Many families have rules where their child has to finish their food before they can get dessert. This is not healthy and should not be encouraged. Children should only eat until they are satisfied, and they need to learn starting at a young age that they don't have to clear their plate. It's okay to have leftovers. If you start forcing your children to eat everything, even if they're not hungry anymore, then they're going to convince themselves that they always have to finish their meal, even when they're full. Provide your children with healthy snack options. We get it. Processed snacks are much easier. We know that throwing crackers at your kid can be a simple and quick solution, but more is needed to provide them with the tools to make healthy eating decisions. Try to provide your child with healthy options at home. You can cut up fresh fruit, vegetables, jerky, cheese sticks, or meat sticks. There are plenty of wonderful options to choose from that aren't chips, cookies, and crackers. One of the best things you can do to instill great eating habits is to provide a positive environment around eating. Instead of placing them in front of the television while they have their meals, make it into a memorable experience. Sit down with them and talk to them about their day, ask them questions, or let them tell you a funny story while they're munching away. Make family dinners a priority where nobody can have electronics and it's just about spending time together as a family. This will allow your child to relate eating with the uninterrupted attention they get from their parents. Sometimes they have to fight for your attention between work, electronics, errands, and chores. Let dinner be the time when you give them your undivided attention. If you're trying to create a healthy relationship with food, then it's time to stop using food as a reward or a bribe. If you tell them if they do something they will get a cookie, then this is the foundation for emotional eating. If they're sad, and you tell them if they stop crying they'll get a chocolate, then that is what they learn to do when they're sad. Emotional eating is a very difficult habit to break, and one that millions of adults suffer with throughout their lives. Don't encourage emotional eating. So stop using food to get your child to behave in a certain way. It just isn't good. We aren't saying that you can't bribe your child. Sometimes bribes are all that work. But try something other than food. As you are trying to encourage healthy eating behavior, it's also important to not completely cut them off of all sugar. Teach them that moderation is the key to all things. They can have a cookie, but they should just have one. They shouldn't have the entire sleeve. How many of us are guilty of this? They need to know that eating a slice of cake is fine every once in a while, and that enjoying a delicious scoop of ice cream is okay. If children are not allowed to ever have anything tasty, then they're just going to binge eat all of the sweets at any given chance. Your kid would love to be more involved in the food prep. Let them help you pick out what meals are going to be made. Invite them to help you shop for the food, and then encourage them to be part of cooking the meal. If they're more involved, then they will have more pride in the food and will likely be more interested in consuming the meal. If they get to decide what food is being made, they will also be more excited about the food since they were the ones to choose it in the first place. One thing that often gets missed with regard to teaching healthy eating habits is hydration. Water is so important. Encourage your children to drink as much water as they can throughout the day. Get them their own water bottle and make sure that it's always clean and full of fresh water. Ask them periodically if they're thirsty and pass them their water frequently to ensure that they're getting properly hydrated. If you're feeling overwhelmed about changing habits, that's okay and completely normal. Don't try to do everything at once. It's important to make slow changes that will lead to a healthy lifestyle, but don't change everything at once. Fostering healthy eating habits in children is vital for their overall well-being and health. Being a good role model is the best thing you can do to create a positive environment for healthy habits. It's important to make gradual changes in your routine to provide a strong foundation for a lifetime of healthy habits.